Happy Halloween, guys! It's finally autism! And you know what that means. That's right, scary video games. Horror as a genre has been an idea in the gaming industry for a while now, with one of the first horror games being published for the Atari 2600, that being 3D Monster Maze. And yeah, it sure was an attempt. I mean, look at it. Yeah, this is gonna get the next bot community riled up. But horror truly began to shine as a genre in the great 3D era of gaming. Starting in the 5th console generation, horror really began to show its marks on the gaming scene, with the N64 and the PS1. That's PlayStation 1 for you normies.
Shut the fuck up!
While the N64 did have a great selection of horror games, the PS1 had the origins of so many staples in the horror scene. Not only did we have classics like Clock Tower and Parasite Eve, but it also brought staples like Silent Hill and Resident Evil. And man, these games skyrocketed the genre into the mainstream, but also it set the standard for survival horror. For the longest time, with some exceptions obviously, survival horror was known as third-person games. And that lasted all the way up to the 2000s. More specifically in the 2010s, indie horror was on the rise. Here on a little platform called YouTube, popular YouTubers were playing and making videos on the popular indie games that were gaining a lot of attraction at the time, like Amnesia and Slender. But there's one other game that I remember, and you most certainly do too. On August 12th, 2014, just 4 days after the game's official release, Markiplier would upload the video, "Warning, scariest game in years." And with him making this one video, I and many others would be entranced and welcomed into the world of Five Nights at Freddy's. And with it being Halloween and FNAF turning 11 this year, I just had to see how well this game has aged. Not only because this game and series holds so much importance to me, but two, because a FNAF 1 related video is somehow still my most viewed video. Jesus Christ, 55,000 views? So now that I've rambled for like the past few minutes, let's say goodbye to this drag of a prologue and fill my contractual obligation and dive straight into FNAF 1. Tally-ho! Now, I do also have a little confession to make. FNAF 1 is one of the only 2 FNAF games that I have ever beaten. The second one being FNAF 3. I know, throw the tomatoes, I'm a fraud. But with that, I can say FNAF 1's gameplay has aged like wine, in the sense of it sounds really, really good. And it is, as long as you haven't had any better wine, any other game in the series. But if you haven't played anything else, it tastes okay and is okay. The game just seriously does have a severe case of first game-itis. And now, what do I mean by this? Well, the game has really good survival mechanics, being power preservation. It's such a good idea. Using the doors or cameras drains your battery. But those mechanics were simply just done better in the future games. The battery mechanic was basically perfected in the second game, and they eventually just got rid of doors, only bringing them back in small little side areas like in Sister Location. And the gameplay is also fantastic, but again, it only gets better as the series goes on. With some exemptions, we don't talk about those. Yeah. And personally, it does make it hard to come back to FNAF 1. While I rarely come back to FNAF games in general, with me always having my nitpicks in mind, I almost never come back to this game. I mostly go back to FNAF 3 for it being my favorite, or Pizzeria Simulator because I personally think it has the best gameplay of the series. And even then, I still prefer to watch just Markiplier's playthroughs, as it is just a overall better experience.
This is a good game, yeah? This is a good game!
And Markiplier is right. Even with my complaints, it is in fact a really good game. At the time, taking the concept of our fear of animatronics and twisting it into a horror game took the scene by complete shock. And what Scott did was amazing. He gave us a really satisfying gameplay loop. Completing nights feel like an actual accomplishment.
Oh my god! Oh
And he also gave us character designs that are easily recognizable, just by their silhouettes alone. They also had designs that we could grow attached to and come to love over the series. He really did capture this feeling of nostalgia for old animatronics like from the time of Chuck E. Cheese and Showbiz Pizza. And personally, I think his designs did a lot more good than bad for the internet. I mean, yeah, let's say there was some consequences.
That actually is pretty funny.
Yeah. Totally more good than bad. Ugh. Yeah, to get our mind off that, let's talk about something else FNAF 1 did great for us, being the mysteries. If you have done any more than 3 seconds of investigating into the FNAF games, then you know this series has plenty of lore. Now, without going full game theory mode, let's just simplify it. So basically, 4 kids have gone missing in a pizzeria, but also they got killed in this pizzeria. Their bodies were stuffed into the suits of the animatronics, and now the 4 souls are now haunting the animatronics. But what's this? There's actually a 5th animatronic and a 5th missing kid that we theorized at this time that can only be encountered either by doing an Easter egg in the game's secret custom night or by hitting the lucky encounter rate of 1 in 100,000. And eventually, the drawings on the walls that the kids did in the restaurant would change into newspaper clippings explaining what happened to the kids and what is happening to the restaurant after the incident. Obviously, if you know anything about FNAF, that is just the very bare minimum to know the basics of this game's whole history and lore. I mean, I didn't even talk about the phone guy and his calls. There's so much lore just in that little span of like 30 seconds every night. But I'm only doing the first game, and this is just what I thought was necessary to explain to, I mean, anybody who was living under a rock. And now with that, I think it's time to put the finishing touches on this review. So, what are my final thoughts? Five Nights at Freddy's 1, overall, it is a really solid game. It did a lot right for it being just the first game in the series. It set a really, really solid foundation for what was to come, but just like the start of anything, there's obvious room for improvement. And it does get improved vastly in the future games. Animatronic AI gets better, survival mechanics get better, battery mechanics get better, story gets way too convoluted, but the first game was really solid. Overall, I rate Five Nights at Freddy's 1 4 newspaper clippings out of 5. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching this video. I wanted to get you guys something out for the spooky month, but I promise I have plenty more coming up for you guys in the next few months. If you enjoyed, please like, comment, and hit that sub button, and join the Discord down in the description. I'm usually in there mostly every night talking with my friends, and I will see you guys next time.